Hello, Bigfoot enthusiasts. Scott here from Squatch America.
And Hannah, domestic goddess, chew cooking doggy mama, and frantic data inputter here in the paddy wagon tonight.
All right, and welcome to our 200th episode. Hope everybody can hear us tonight. Hopefully.
Are we 5 by 5? Oh, you know what? I forgot to send an email.
Oh my gosh.
It's been so busy.
Ruined everything.
Well, hey, maybe they'll win all the things.
Yeah, so we got some prizes tonight. We're going to be
and if you want to be in the drawing for the prizes, you have to be in the chat.
All right, thank you, Mark.
So if you lurk, it's not going to do you any good.
Yep. So let's get this going.
Squatch America, we're on the trail, chasing down the mystery through the rain and hail, with a knock on a tree and a howl in the night. With Squatch America, gonna get it right.
Hello, everybody. So we got Renee, we got Mark, we got Lee
and Galen
so far. So
and
hi,
yes,
everyone.
I did forget the email because in my day job was just totally everything. So anyway, but I see 4 of you in the chat, and 8 of you watching, which means 4 of you are not in the chat, which means the 4 of you not in the chat are not being put on my little random name drawer. So if you want a chance to win the prizes, you gotta be in the chat.
So we're going to be giving away 4 prizes randomly tonight, and we are also what we're going to talk about tonight. We told you we're going to have special guests tonight, and guess who the special guests are? They're you. So what we're talking about is what got us to here, where we're at. It'll be kind of fun down memory lane, and where we've met a lot of you guys, and there's a lot more people out there that we would love to meet, and all the stuff. So hi, Janice.
D. Ferguson.
Okay. Alrighty. So without further ado, I don't know, Hannah has some special stuff tonight too that she's kept from me and secretly did. So I don't know when we're going to do those. That's up to her. But I'm going to go down memory lane a little bit, and then whenever she's ready to chime in, she'll chime in. Okay, so I got some stuff she doesn't know I did. So
there will be none of this hollering at me about keeping secrets and going behind your tender-hearted little back.
Oh yeah, my tender-hearted little back.
Y'all have no idea how. Anyway, okay, more and more of you are popping on, so make sure you say something in the chat so I can add you to our prize picking wheel, the wheel of Bigfoot fortune.
All right, so
what's your first thing on the agenda?
Well, what I was doing,
and by the way, no, I don't have any ice cream for us.
I got I got 100 and
if you say 105
slides in my PowerPoint presentation
Christ,
tonight,
are you kidding?
But they'll go fast. And Janice says she loves prizes. I love giving prizes. It's kind of fun. So let me jump into the PowerPoint here. There it is.
Remember that logo?
So this is where it all started. I remember back in the day.
You were born a poor black child.
Yes, and it was in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago. I guess I said that backwards. But anyway, so what it is this is the first logo that I came up with. It was, what, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago? I don't know. Something like that. It was Blue Mountain Bigfoot Research. So we had the Blue Mountains and the Bigfoot. So what yeah, it's good proportion. Thank you. I got to quit doing that. Go reading the chat so much. That's her job. And what I'm going to do is
and it's bigger on the inside.
It's bigger on the inside. Yep. So we're this is the first logo. We started with Blue Mountain Bigfoot research. And I'll tell you how that came about is I had recently just moved back to the Blue Mountains. That's where I was born and raised. And I had moved back there, and I had this wild idea. I had just finished traveling around doing archaeology all over the world and working with tribes and stuff. And we moved to Baker City, Oregon, mostly to take care of my mother. Was my new job. Yeah, I got the TARDIS reference anyway, because
We love Dr.
I was a
Who.
huge nerd before that, but we'll get into that some other time. But anyway, so I decided I wanted to start like a little Bigfoot thing in the Blue Mountains. Renee Drew said, "Which Blue Mountains?" The Blue Mountains of Eastern Oregon. If you're famous for the Paul Freeman film back in the day. Yes, the Blue Mountains of Eastern Oregon. That's where I was born and raised, and so was Renee in the chat. The other Renee.
The other Renee.
Yeah. So
Janice said that Blue Mountain Bigfoot is what drew me to you.
That's awesome. So anyway, Renee Drew had fires in Ukiah. Well, the other Renee spends a lot of time in Ukiah. I love Ukiah. Ukiah is a great. I mean, I didn't grow up too far from there.
Pyromatic is on. Yay!
Okay. So anyway, so this is the first logo. This is where we started. And this was our first truck.
Adelaide.
And the first idea I had about doing a surveillance vehicle. So I had this little trailer behind it, and it had a little camper on the trailer. It wasn't really a camper, it was more like a shell. And we had it all set up to be our research thing.
It was our Squatch pod.
We called it the Squatch pod. We could take it out and leave it in the woods.
And just so you know, if you can't tell by looking at it, it was built on a frame purchased at Bimart.
Yeah. So anyway,
it was a Bimart trailer.
So anyway, if you're wondering how long I've been interested in Bigfoot, this was from my high school yearbook from 1979. And the guy in the Bigfoot costume is me.
So
I would have been like
cute.
16 or 17 at that point.
Yeah, I can really see Dustin and you in that.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's the Squatch pod. And what happened was I came up with this saying. I started a Facebook page, and the local newspaper picked it up. So the local newspaper wrote this story about Bigfoot in the Blue Mountains. And it was a story from the local newspaper, the La Grande Observer. And we, Renee said she has that. Anyway, so they wrote this story about me hunting Bigfoot because they saw the Facebook page and thought it was cool. Little town, it's what 9,000 people in our town, and they needed news. So, hey, there's a dude looking for Bigfoot in the area. Let's go do a story. So they did a story, wrote it, and then the weirdest thing happened. Newspapers from all over the country started picking up the story and running with it. It ended up all over the country that, from the AP Newswire, that this guy is searching for Bigfoot in the Blue Mountains. It must have been a slow news week. So they ended up posting these things all over. And then I started getting, it actually crashed our
because the report form on your Wix site.
Yeah, I had a Wix site I set up, and people would submit reports. Well, it crashed my Wix site. There were so many people on it at once trying to put in reports after this thing had taken off. And I'm like, oh crap, I don't even know what to do with all this. But so I kind of filtered out the ones that weren't in our area, because I was at that time really concerned about my area, not all over the United States. So D. Ferguson, I'm from LeGrand. Well, I'm from Somerville. So if you lived in LeGrand, you know where Somerville is. Not many people do because there's only 10 people live there. But anyway, so that's where I grew up, was in Somerville. So I got a bunch of reports in 1 week from the same area from people that didn't know each other. So I decided that's a good place to go squatching. So I went out squatching and I met this gentleman that day, who's now a really good friend of mine. And we went out and we hiked around the Blue Mountains looking for Bigfoot. Gosh, his name just
Don Endicott.
And I was the day we saw Bigfoot. And last week,
It was a beautiful June day in 2018.
yeah. And last week I tried to get this video to play, and it better play today. This is the picture of Bigfoot I took. And if you can't see the Bigfoot, this is what I was hoping to show you guys last year, but
Last week.
But there, it's working.
You know what he had to do? He had to turn it off and turn it back on.
Yes, I had to turn my computer off and turn it back on. So you see the Bigfoot yet? How about now? How about now? And you wonder why we get blurry pictures of Bigfoot. How about now? How about now? See it? Boom. That's how far away I was. And now it's got a red circle around it, so we know it is
Legit.
Legit Bigfoot because it has a red circle around it.
But we need to add a circle.
Yeah.
You didn't see the other one though when
when I first saw it, I only saw this one here. I didn't see this one here standing behind it. So, and that's whole for another story. That's story for another time. Anyway, and we found these footprints where they were standing. We found 9-inch footprints and 16-inch footprints.
I actually think there was a third one there.
Yeah,
myself.
Hannah thinks there was a third one
In the picture.
Oh no, I don't think so. But anyway,
Just saying.
so guess what? The newspaper did it again. Footprints found in the Blue Mountains. I showed him the picture of the Bigfoot, but he didn't write a story about that. He just wrote a story about the footprints found. And
Look at that face.
yeah,
Look at that nicely groomed Cliff Barrickman like goatee.
yeah. So anyway, it hit the papers again, and then it went all over that I found footprints in the Blue Mountains.
Hey, Bigfoot dwarf, I like red circles and arrows too because sometimes it takes me a minute to focus. I got really bad eyes. So
There we go.
the more indicators I can see, I have to like show me exactly where to look.
Yeah. So
Better.
so the next thing that happened was a film crew showed up at my house. And so this is my basement in our house in Baker City, Oregon. We had this little like home theater in the basement. So, and this was my squatching room too. I had all my Bigfoot stuff down there. And so this film crew showed up in my basement and set it up, and we did an interview, and it ended up on
They did more than an interview.
well, they did more than an interview. We took him out squatching, and I took my him and my squatching partner at the time was a guy named Pete Nelson. Hi, Pete, if you're out there. Great guy. Really great guy. I love Pete to death. He and I have been out in the woods a million times together. But anyway, so I took Pete out, and this is what happened. So I'm going to mute my mics, and hopefully this plays and you can hear it. Let me know if you can hear the video. When I was about 7, I went to a movie. One of the newsreels they ran was about the Patterson-Gimlin film. I saw that Bigfoot walking across the screen, and I thought to myself, wow, they are real. Since that day, I spent all my childhood walking through the woods looking for Bigfoot prints. That kind of led through my whole life. since then. I learned a lot about the scientific method, and I went from being the teenager who was looking for Bigfoot to somebody who's actually doing research. This is our Squatch pod. It's our mobile research lab. Patterson got 13 seconds before his film ran out, and now we can do hours and hours and hours. Another thing is aerial photography. You can go places where I'm not hiking at a higher speed than I could ever hike it. My theory is that you don't find Bigfoot, he finds you. Once we get out here, I will put people in locations and just sit and be quiet and listen. The woods will come alive for you. You'll start hearing stuff you didn't hear before. The only way we're going to prove this is potential sightings or the amount of potential finding evidence. The only way to do that is just time in the woods. There was one famous film filmed here in the Blue Mountains, and it's called the Freeman film. It was filmed by Paul Freeman. He was actually a Forest Service worker.
Yeah, it looked like they'd been here.
I found some footprints, and he was following those.
Oh, there he goes.
That went into the Annals of Bigfoot history, that video there. And that's one of the reasons I enjoy searching in this area, because there is proof and evidence and history here. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've spent a lot of time in the woods. In that 20 years, I've had 5 interactions with Bigfoot. I tell a lot of people that, I don't really believe in Bigfoot. I leave belief up to religion. I've studied the evidence and found it credible. I think they have a very small population. They're very discreet about being seen by humans. Well, I'm not sure if it's a gorilla or a hominid. It could be a relic hominid. So it could be just like us. It could be smarter than us. All right, that was the travel Oregon thing.
That was your first documentary.
That's my first documentary.
And actually, I gotta say, I think this triggered some other stuff too.
It did.
Because it
we're
wasn't
getting to that
well,
one.
okay, the not so good stuff.
Yeah, some of it. Yeah, we got some not so good stuff. Because later on, another newspaper, after seeing this, came to talk to me, and
well, I meant because that's when it hit the papers that you
that's right.
That you were
So
gonna take people
because I had
out.
mentioned on this, and Travel Oregon had mentioned that I was going to take people out Bigfooting, and which I had mentioned that we were going to take people out Bigfooting. Well, then I had 2 state police knocking on my door right after that, because somebody had turned me in for illegally being an outfitter, taking people in the woods. So I had to explain
Which was the biggest point of presumption ever, because how do you know?
Yeah.
How does anyone know who's doing what?
And that I was charging people. I wasn't charging people to take them into the woods. But so yeah, Karen. Yes.
Oh, let me tell you. Let me tell you the number of Karens.
Yeah. So anyway, I had to explain to the officers that I wasn't charging people to do this. And after that, I did look into like getting my outfitter's license so I could, put Karen in her place. But then we found out, there was $5,000 worth of insurance and almost $10,000 in licensing fees every year.
Because Oregon.
to be an outfitter. And I'm like, I can't afford this. So we never did do that. So that's what we ended up doing. I think this is my favorite shot from that video. It's like, I love this shot. Gives you the vastness of the Blue Mountains are huge.
Renee says jealous over imagined money.
Yep, exactly. I totally agree.
Mhm.
And then after that, though, after that video came out, we get a call from this lovely lady who
is now a dear friend.
who's a dear friend of ours now. Oh my gosh, I'm having hard with the
Christy Sanders.
Christy Sanders, who actually used to be she used to work on the website for the BFRO and do their data processing. And so she called me up and said that she was looking for a new group. So she was like our first.
She was our first Squatch America. Well, we didn't even call him. We weren't even Squatch America. Then.
Yeah, she was like our first
field
researcher for Blue Mountain Bigfoot research at the time. So, and now she's speaking at Bigfoot festivals under the auspices of Squatch America now.
Yes, because folks, we can't be everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
So if any of you ever have the opportunity to go speak at a festival, and we would love to, we'll set you up with a shirt and business cards. Okay.
Yeah, anything you need, information.
That's our compensation package.
Yeah. This is a completely
not for profit,
non-profit, don't get profit.
Welcome, Sharon.
Yeah, hi Sharon. And so anyway, so Christy, if you're watching out there,
probably not.
But anyway, so Christy's is probably our first Squatch American.
Janice, you and Christy are in the same neck of the woods. You really should get together.
Yeah, should get to know each other.
In fact, tell you what, we'll set up.
Christy's in what, Troutdale? No,
she's in closer to Gresham. But she is she is definitely, you know what? Actually, Janice, if you're ever looking
she was out this weekend.
If you're ever looking for someone to go out with, that's not, and you don't want to pay $500 for a BFRO expedition,
Christy.
Yeah, they'll tear it up.
Yeah,
Christy knows the Bigfoot Highway like the back of her hand.
The famous Bigfoot Highway out of Estacada, the Bigfoot Highway book. Actually, we're going to talk about it a little bit later. Christy's actually got it memorized. She knows every Bigfoot site on Mount Hood.
Yeah, so we'll set you up. Renee, do we have a Bigfoot festival in the Blues? We used to.
We used to. And we're going to get to that too. So anyway, so then we got invited to a Bigfoot festival. We didn't get invited to speak, but we got to set up a booth and talk with people. And this is it. This was in Troutdale, Oregon, at the Oregon Bigfoot Festival. That was the only festival in Oregon at the time. Now there's 5 or 6.
Every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6. But so
this is before they were trendy.
Yeah.
So now they're trendy.
Yeah. So we got to set up there. We got to meet a lot of people, got a lot of stories. My whole point was doing this was to get stories and collect information, because I'm trying to figure out, as you guys know, the culture of Bigfoot. And there's a gal who is a artist in Baker City, Oregon, who does murals and stuff, and really good friend of mine. And she painted that Bigfoot for me. It's a cutout that we got off our logo. The shape is off our logo, and she painted it for me. It was pretty cool. Anyway, so we did this Bigfoot festival here, and that's the first time we met this dude, Cliff Barrickman.
Who looked at your photo
and looked at my photo and told me, "Yeah,
it's a nice blob squatch.
It's a nice blob squatch." Yeah.
Look how dark his hair.
Well, the lighting was weird.
I was going to say, it was not 10 years ago.
It was.
We were all so much younger.
Yeah, I know. That was a long time ago. It was like, what, 6?
It was 7? This was 2018, I think.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, hi, Michelle and Mike. Welcome.
Okay. So, then I got invited to another one after this where I did get to speak. It was my first time speaking at a Bigfoot festival. This was in Cave Junction, Oregon. Right after that, these may not be in any. That dude looks like Cliff. Brown Dwarf said that dude was Cliff. Yes, it is Cliff. Anyway, so I got to speak at this one in Cave Junction, and Hannah, she can correct me, but these are probably not going to be in the right chronological order.
Probably not.
Because this is the way I do things. But anyway, so we got to speak there, and my first speaking engagement on stage was in this little tiny festival in Cave Junction, Oregon, with this dude right here. And this is Shane Corson from the Olympic Project. And so Shane and I were the only two speakers there at this Bigfoot festival, which was 99%. This festival here was in Cave Junction, Oregon. If you don't know where Cave Junction, Oregon, it's the pot capital of Oregon.
In fact, they offered you free pot as compensation.
Yeah, they were going to pay me in marijuana. I did not take it, by the way. So, but Shane and I both spoke there. We were the only two Bigfoot people there. Everybody else was just vendors and music and a lot of marijuana smoking going on. And we were proud to get out of there.
Pete went with you to that.
And Pete went with, yeah, my partner Pete went with
Oh, G. Ferguson said he was there.
What? Oh, really? So Shane.
And yes, Bigfoot Dwarf. There is a tiny little museum at the Xerox place. We
Yes.
know Rick very well.
Rick's
In
a
fact,
good friend of mine. That
in
owns that.
fact, doesn't he have copies of some of our casts?
Yep, some of the casts in his little museum I gave him. Yeah, ones that we have.
So, and we always stop for ice cream when we go there.
Yeah, love Rick. Rick's a great guy.
Yep, Rick does a lot of our printing for us.
So then after that, we did another Bigfoot outing where we invited people to come and didn't charge them.
Yes.
Just saying. And we did this on Mount Hood with Christy. She showed up, and lo and behold, up in the woods, we had sent out this. It was just posted on my Facebook page, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted to come join us, you could come join us. So we had a few takers. We had a guy from Washington show up, and a guy from the Cave Junction area.
Who's now another dear friend.
Who is another dear friend. We're going to get to him next. Anyway, but lo and behold, we're up in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and the Portland Tribune and the Estacada newspaper show up to take pictures and talk to me about hunting Bigfoot in Mount Hood.
This is all pre-pandemic era,
Yeah.
and so obviously they were still looking for news that didn't offend people and
Yeah.
didn't rile people to riots. And this was just fun community news.
Yeah, fun community news. So we went out there, and a guy who showed up for this adventure is Terrell Stevens, and he's usually in the chat. I don't know if he's here tonight, but Terrell, if you're out there, buddy, love you. He lives in Selma, Oregon,
with his lovely wife Elaine.
Yes, and we met him there, and he's been a good friend ever since. We've done a few outings with him, and whenever we're in Cave Junction area, him and his wife, we always go have lunch with them. We went to their house and had dinner one night. Anyway, great guy, Terrell. He's got a huge Bigfoot cast and book collection too.
Yeah, and he is like, you want someone in the Southern Oregon area, he's your guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So anyway, then I get an email that I immediately thought was spam. And then they sent me another email, and I'm like in shock that I thought this BS was happening. And then this happened. I got a call from Nike. You know, Nike's out of Oregon, right? You know, the shoe company, Nike. And they wanted me to come shoot a Nike commercial. So the folks you see on the screen here are actually Nike models.
Are we going to watch it?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we do that, let's listen. I thought it would be fun to kind of, for you to know what kind of impact you've had on people.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
this is what Hannah put together.
Part of it.
Well, we're going to do all of it.
Yeah.
So this is it.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hi, Scott and Hannah. This is Angelique with Legacy Discoveries. On behalf of our team, we just wanted to congratulate you for your 200th episode of Squatch America. We are so honored to be able to know you and to have been able to speak alongside you at a couple different events here in the Pacific Northwest. And we just wanted to tell you that we are looking forward to the next 100th episode that you're going to have. So 200 episodes and counting. We love you. Stay squatchy.
This is Ben Celine. I just want to congratulate you on your 200th live episode. And I just want to say thank you so much for everything you've done. You've been such an inspiration for my research and helping me learn new things to help with research. You've given me the confidence to go out in the field and look for evidence. Thank you so much, and I will always cherish everything you've showed me on the channel, and the people you introduced me to, and everything you've done. Thank you so much, and I look forward to whatever holds in the future. And happy 200th live episode of Squatch America. Squatch on.
Hi, Scott and Hannah. This is Janice. I'm getting ready to head out for a weekend of squatching, but I wanted to congratulate you guys on your 200th episode. I can't tell you what your friendship means to me, and I love your shows. It's very obvious the time and the hard work that you put into it with, your PowerPoints and etc. But anyway, I just feel like it's honored to be part of Squatch America, and I am bummed you're not closer to me in Oregon. But hopefully when you're back here, we can hook up. Anyway, I love you guys, and here's to 200 more. Now go out and find Bigfoot.
What is a milestone in our life? Taking first steps, starting kindergarten, graduation, getting married, having kids, retiring, or having your 200th live show. Squatch America is educational while entertaining and eclipses other shows with the same subject matter. Thank you for being teachers and mentors. I look forward to your weekly words of wisdom. And I also look forward to celebrating another 200 live shows with you. But just once, I hope you explained the unexplored. Just kidding. Now, go out and prove Bigfoot.
Scott and Hannah. This is Freeman, and I can't think of two better people to congratulate on 200 episodes. Let's go get another 200.
Hello, Scott and Hannah. It's Nikki from Sasquatch Secrets. It's been a complete honor getting to know the two of you. Congrats on your 200th live. That's quite an accomplishment. I hope and know there will be many, many more to come. Hope to see you guys soon. Goodbye.
Hello, Scott and Hannah. This is Scott's Cajun cousin from Northern California, Robert Leiterman. How you guys doing? On behalf of the Bluff Creek Project, we'd like to congratulate you guys on your, 200th episode of Sasquatch America. Good job. I've had the privilege to be, the first meet you guys at Beachfoot in 2023, and have been a guest on your Sasquatch America, which was a blast. You guys were great, entertaining, good chemistry. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
200 big fat episodes. You did it, Scott, Violet. You did it. Man, oh man. The sun's shining at your back at this point. You and Hannah are quite the duo. It's been a pleasure calling you my friends. By the way, this is Tobe Johnson here in Port Townsend, Washington. Just here to back you up, man. Not that you need it, but I got your 6. Okay? It's going to be cool. Here's to 200 more. 2025. Hot on the trail. plaster dried on your jeans always means you're a true artist. Anyway, have a great day. Have a great rest of the year. And as always, I will see you in the trees.
Awesome. Awesome.
And then there were two who didn't know how to read instructions.
Yeah, there were two people who didn't know how to read instructions. Apparently, Hannah was telling me that they didn't send audio, they sent videos. So I'm going to play those for you now. Here's one of them. And then we'll play one of my favorite Bigfooters. But here's the next one.
Hey, Scott and Hannah. How you guys doing? So due date was April 25th for a congratulatory little thing for your 200th episode. You hit me at a really busy time where I was overloaded. So sorry about that. But you know what? This is your congratulation for your 202nd episode. I think that's cooler anyway, because 202 is a palindrome. Words and phrases and numbers in this case that are spelled the same frontwards and backwards. So here it is. Congratulations on your 202nd episode. I think that's fantastic. And frankly, cooler than 200 anyway. Forget 200. Who cares? 202nd though? Right on. Anyway, you keep on squatching. Thank you so much for everything you do. I'm glad that there are other people just enjoying the ride out there. And you guys take care. Congratulations.
So we'll have to play that again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll play that again. Actually, I was looking back in our live shows, and we are actually probably over 200. I'm not sure. This is anyway. So now we got another video sent in by
someone else who can't follow instructions.
Yeah, but he's a good friend of mine. Love him to death.
Well, hey, Scott and Hannah. Just want to say congratulations on your 200th show. Is that the way you said 200th show? Anyway, 200 shows. Congratulations. That's a big accomplishment. I've learned a lot from y'all folks over the years. So I just want to say thank y'all, and here's to 200 more.
All right. That was Joe Pass, the Squatching Cowboy.
So I did all that unbeknownst to him. Well, I tried.
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
Yes, and so they've mentioned that Flash of Beauty people were in Baker City. Yes, they were.
Yes, they were.
At the Haunted Hotel. The guys were grand.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah. And Tobe was one of the people there. And yeah. And somebody says, Robert. Yeah. Robert Lighterman, a good friend of ours. Sweet guy. In fact, he called us the other day just to see what was going on. Hadn't talked to him in a while. Just out of the blue. Just called me.
He's just a great guy all the way around. Robert is.
Yeah. So.
All right.
So,
So now we're back to the Nike people.
To the Nike.
Do we need to have an advertisement here?
Not yet.
Not yet. I think we're going to go overtime tonight anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much, Hannah, for having those people throw that in.
Because sometimes you forget just how much you touch people. In the best way.
Yeah.
Reach out and touch someone.
Yeah.
I guess so. You can't really do that anymore, can you?
I guess not. Anyway,
the point is you're important to a lot of people.
Shucks. No, I'm not. But anyway, let's. So anyway, Nike calls me and it freaks me out. And next thing I know, I'm driving to the Oregon coast. And yes, folks, I was in a Nike commercial. We shot a Nike commercial. Now, before we do this, I want to tell you this is all scripted. I no longer howl into the woods or knock on trees. So
and there really is no rule of 3.
There's no rules. I mean, this is stuff they did. But in my past life, I used to be a stage magician, in case people are just tuning in. And they actually had me do a magic trick in the commercial, and they left it in, and I didn't think they would. I was just goofing around, and the guy happened to be filming me while I was doing it, and they put it in the commercial. Ridiculous. Anyway, so I think this is the Nike commercial. Hi, I'm Scott, and this is Oregon. Sasquatching or Bigfooting. We are actively doing research looking for a undiscovered primate in North America. I like the adventure. I like the hunt, the search. I absolutely love it when I find stuff. Today, we're going to bring Bigfoot to us. We're going to whoop, we're going to tree knock, and we're going to look for any of their markers that mark their territories. All right, guys, Bigfoot communicates by tree knocks. We don't know why, but there's always one or there's three. There's never two, there's never four. At nighttime, we say one and done. But during the day, it's three. You ready? It's human nature to try to figure out what goes bump in the night, and there's this draw to finding something that's mythical or imaginary or exciting or something different that nobody's ever seen before. And I think that energizes people to get out in the woods and look.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom.
This is my documentary.
What would I ask a Bigfoot if I was able to talk to them? I would probably ask them why. Why have you hidden from us for so long?
Do you think you can do that?
Yeah, I could do that.
That's a pretty good job. Now we need to wait and see if they come to us. This is very ideal surroundings for your typical Bigfoot habitat. We find that Bigfoot habitat ranges about the same as a black bear habitat. You have the Yahoo in Australia. They have the Almasty in Siberia. We also have the Yeti in China. And of course, we have Bigfoot in the United States and Sasquatch in Canada. And it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's not just here.
Guys, I heard something. We're gonna have to find it.
Some of the younger generation, you know, they're in the woods searching for cell signal. But I think by the end of the trip, they appreciate all the beauty that's out there, things they can't see on the sidewalks. My one piece of wisdom is to take the time to smell the roses. Take a day off, lay in the yard, look at the sky. All right, guys, we have a footprint. Now we're going to cast it. This stuff is called hydrocal. It's what dentists use to make copies of your teeth. We can check it in 20 minutes and it'll be solid, or should be solid. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my wedding ring here and I'll put it in my hand. Now, at no time do my hands leave my wrist. Okay? Watch carefully. Now, there's where it was. Now I'll bring it back. 1, 2.
Oh.
That's magic.
Wow, you can see the Nike. Where was it?
I think Bigfoot has good taste in shoes. Yep, that was the Nike commercial.
So did anyone else like have total 70s sitcom vibes from that? Like $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
Remember, nothing in there is representative of anything that we actually do in the field.
Yeah.
So we're just going to put that disclaimer out there. That does not, the opinions expressed in that commercial do not reflect those of Squatch America.
Yeah.
But it was an $1,800 check, so who are we to look that in the mouth?
Yeah. So
then.
Moving right along. I need to get back to this button. Okay. So then we decided we were going to venture out and have our own Bigfoot festival.
Janice wants to know if that was on TV.
Yeah, that was on TV, but it was a shorter version of it. They cut it down. This was the version they had on their YouTube channel and on their Nike website. They had it up for, I don't know, it was like 6 months. 6 months or so. And then
they actually we asked them to sponsor us, and they said no.
Yeah, I know.
We've decided to go in a different direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I asked them to sponsor my research for like $25,000 for a year, and they give Michael Jordan $1 billion, but they said no. So I feel used. Anyway, so we decided to do our own Bigfoot festival. So
this was 2019.
2019. So we threw this together, and this was our special guest. Both our special guests. In case you don't know who that is, that's Dr. Jeff Meldrum and Jeremy Scott
from Into the Paranormal.
Yes, he has a national radio show. It's a lot like Coast to Coast AM, but better, I think. It's called Into the Paranormal with Jeremy Scott, and he's got a great voice, and we've done this festival 3 times now. He's been our MC every time, and we go live on his radio show from the festival. It's a lot of fun.
And we meet him at that first Oregon Bigfoot Festival?
I think we did. I think we met him at the first Oregon Bigfoot Festival.
And then he had us on his show.
Yeah, had us on his show.
He had you on his show. And that's how we got to know him. And then he volunteered to come out to MC our festival.
Right.
And no, Michelle, we did not get to keep the shoes, but you did get to keep the hat.
I got to keep the hat. This was advertising. No, I did get to keep the shoes too.
They fell apart.
Yeah, they fell apart. But this was
Nike.
This was their Nike outdoor gear. So all the stuff that we were all wearing was Nike jackets, Nike shirts, shoes, all that stuff. Anyway, so Dr. Jeff came and spoke at our festival. I got to know him pretty good over that. I'd met him a couple times before. But then I met this guy at our festival who showed up. His name's Mike Matthews from Maine. He drove all the way from Maine to go squatching in Oregon and happened to see a sign for our festival in the park, and he stopped by and introduced himself, and so we went up above. So I took him up above Sumter to a place called Bourne. It's a ghost town, old mining town, and we went squatching up there. And he's been a friend of ours from Maine. He
was our first Mainer.
The first Mainer that we met, and so yeah, he still lives in Rumford, Maine, and. In fact, just chatting with him on the phone last night. And then I got invited to to speak at a Bigfoot festival in Wolf Creek. What's it called? Wolf Creek, Oregon. It's Wolf Creek, Oregon.
Yeah, it's just up the road from Grants Pass.
Grants Pass. So I got to go there, and the two people I met who were also speaking there at that festival, I got to hang out with them for a weekend. Was these two ladies. It's Cindy Cadell and Shelly Covington, Montana. So I got to hang out with them all weekend. Got to know them very well, and we've been out a couple times with Shelly since then. So it's been great getting to know those two gals. And then we went back to the Oregon Bigfoot Festival a second time. Still wasn't speaking. Jeremy Scott was the announcer for it, and but we got to set up our booth, and the guest speakers there this year was Cliff Berrickman and Bobo, and so we got to hang out for a weekend with those two again. Actually, it was Bobo's the first time we met Bobo.
And this here was 29, the summer of 2019.
Yeah, it was the year after that. So we got to hang out with them.
This was right when there was so much momentum.
Yeah.
Leading up into.
Well, we're getting there.
Okay.
And then we got in a little town of Elgin, Oregon, they have this train, and they thought they had this great idea to have a Bigfoot train, and they found us, asked if I would speak on the train. So the train goes up in the mountains, and then it doesn't turn around, it just goes back. It goes up and it dead ends, and then it comes back in the woods. But they had guys in Bigfoot costumes along the river as a train. It's a beautiful train ride up in the mountains. It's an old logging rail track that's not used anymore, so they have a train on it, and they take these people on these adventures. What's the train ride? It's about 2-3 hours?
About 2 or 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
And they feed you lunch.
So we've done the train 3 times.
And this is one of our most recent pictures. This was not the first year we did it.
Yeah, this is not the first year we did it. So we did that. The first year we did it, this lady was on the train checking us out. The second year we did it, we saw the same lady on the train, and she introduced herself to us.
And she bought coffee from us.
And then
she finally told us who she was.
Finally told me who she was. I didn't know who she was. And then the third year, she came just to hang out with us, and we had lunch with her after the train. And we've had lunch with her in her hometown a couple times. And this gal here, her name is Dar Addington. And if you don't know who Dar Addington is, there's famous Bigfooters in the Blue Mountains. There's Paul Freeman. There's Wes Summerlin. There's Jeffrey Meldrum. You might know him. Well, when these guys went into the woods, this is the lady that was with them. She took notes of every outing, and she Bigfooted in the Blue Mountains for years. She is famous.
Without being famous.
She's very quiet, very unassuming, greatest lady in the world. That's why she stopped and she checked us out for 2 years to make sure she could trust us. And once she decided, she's like the mom I never had. She's just an awesome, awesome lady. And the third year, this is what's so shocking to me, and I still have this. The third year we were up there
on the train.
She hands me this. This is all her field notes from Bigfooting from 1995 to the year 2000. And if you look at some of this one page here, it says, "Oh, we went out with Derek Randalls today." If you don't know who Derek is, he's the head of the Olympic Project, and she knows. And this notebook has drawings. It has trailheads, mileage markers. She doesn't have GPS in it because she doesn't do that because it was way back in the day. But she has detailed everything of every footprint cast she's ever found, and she's found a lot. And I happen to have that filled notebook, and I cherish it, and I'm going to do something with it someday, but it is priceless. So I still have that. Anyway, then we got invited to go to, and I know the train we did for 3 years. So we're going back in time a little bit.
Hey, Tara, glad to see that you're on there.
Hey,
Remember,
Terry, we just talked about you.
If you haven't put something in the chat, then I can't put your name in for the drawing. So
Yeah. So anyway, then we got invited to speak at a Bigfoot festival in Pocatello, Idaho. And we did it. We've done that one for
3 years.
3 years. Anyway, so we went to Pocatello, Idaho. In case you don't know who lives in Pocatello, that's Jeff Meldrum himself, is his hometown.
And this was the most miserable Bigfoot
This is the worst Bigfoot festival ever.
in the history of Bigfoot festivals.
Yeah. They had like 6 people show up to this whole thing.
It was raining the entire weekend.
Yeah, it was an outdoor thing, and it was raining the entire weekend. And
Philip Miller, good. You made it for the drawing. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, in case you're just logging on, we're having a drawing for prizes tonight. So you got to put your name in the chat to get entered. So you got to just chat something. Anyway, so this Bigfoot festival, the guest speakers was myself, Jeff Meldrum, and Cliff Barrickman. So all 3 of us, since nobody showed up at the festival, we just sat together and talked for 3 days. So,
which is really funny because we weren't Squatch America yet there, but
yeah, this is an older this is a newer picture. I just didn't have a picture
back then,
but from back then of us 3. So I just threw this in here. This is from something else. But hey, Ben's in the chat.
Celine, woo! All right, awesome.
So that was a fun festival for me anyway, because Jeff, Cliff, and I just got to sit down and talk all weekend. So then we did a Bigfoot festival in Tollgate, Oregon, one of my favorite places on the planet, and one of my
this is another new picture.
Yeah, the squatching. I was looking for older pictures and I couldn't find them. I didn't want to go. I've got 3.
How many hard drives do you have full?
I've got 3 terabytes of pictures that I didn't want to dig through all of them. So anyway, so we did a Bigfoot little gathering thing up in Tollgate, Oregon. If you don't know where Tollgate, Oregon is, Tollgate is where it's like 15 miles south of Deduck Springs, where Paul Freeman. I mean, this is Bigfoot Central. Back in the day, Paul Freeman, Wes Summerlin, and Dar Addington, and all those guys who were out Bigfooting in the Blue Mountains, they would go to this restaurant back in the day in the 90s and hang out, have coffee, and talk about their adventures. This was the spot. And to this day, you can go into this in Tollgate Crossing, and they have Bigfoot casts on the wall there. And a lot of them are freaking originals. In fact, one of them has a Bigfoot cast of the Dermal Ridge cast that it's a cast that has fingerprints on it. That Paul Freeman, in fact, you heard Michael Freeman wish us the thing Hannah recorded. That's his son. But Paul Freeman, one of his Dermal Ridge casts in there is a copy, but it's one of 3 original copies that was made by Grover Krantz. And I actually got to take that cast off the wall and make a mold of it. So I have a copy of that one. So I have a 3rd generation copy of the Freeman cast. So anyway, it's pretty awesome.
I got it.
Okay. So we went there and we met this guy.
Oh my gosh, we're only on slide 38 of 121.
I know. We're going to start flying through these real quick. So anyway, we met Mike J, who was a Bigfooter back in.
He was actually part of that original group.
He was part of that original group. Great guy. He passed away a few years ago. We miss him very much. Died of cancer. And but anyway, we met Mike, and I was an honor to know him for the short time I did know him, about 3 years. Anyway,
Janice, we love Tollgate, and if you are at all, that could be something that would bring us back to Oregon, is if we could
do a Tollgate outing. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Or a festival or something.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time there. In fact, I grew up there. I grew up like 20 miles from Tollgate, so that's where
then
we got this call. the TV show Expedition Bigfoot, the first season. They
Do I get to look sideways yet?
No, yeah, you can look sideways. Anyway, so what they did is I worked with their producers for months before they shot the first season.
Janice says this should be your next book.
This should be my next book. What?
All this story, all this stuff.
Yeah. So we were shooting the first season there of Expedition Bigfoot. That's me and Bryce. And if you watch the first season, they had this super secret algorithm computer thing to estimate where Bigfoot was. Well, that was all my Bigfoot sightings that I had submitted to him. Not the ones not personal ones, but ones that
had been
reported to me.
His pins and map became their magic algorithm.
Yeah, my pins and my map became their magic algorithm, and they used that for the first season of their show. And then I found out that they were faking everything they were doing in their show. So they actually cut my interview out of the first season of the show, and then
never heard from them again.
Never heard from them again. That was it.
So yes, they stole our research and marketed it as their own.
Yeah.
And if anyone from the team is listening, and we've said it out loud.
Yeah. So anyway, and then the Black Plague happened. Just the same, we can't see certain words on YouTube.
Oh, you can now.
No, you can't. Anyway, and this is where we discovered that we sold our house, bought an RV, and hit the road at that point. And this is where we discovered that owning an RV and going to RV stores and RV lots to buy supplies, we found toilet paper that people didn't think about. RV toilet paper. So dun dun dun, life hack. And next time people
if
panic,
there's a run on toilet paper, go to your RV store.
Go to your RV store. So there's that. Anyway, so then we went to Maine for a whole entire summer. We worked at a campground for a summer there, and we got to hike around Maine and do some Bigfooting in Maine. Let's see, what do I got for pictures? And that's where I met these guys. This is family, literal family. I didn't know I had.
By the way, we were standing in front of Stephen King's house.
Yes, we were standing in front of Stephen King's house right there. But we are. This is Dale and Denise Levesque, my cousin
from Bangor, Maine.
From Bangor, Maine.
Bangor, actually.
Yeah, and
Bangor.
And they are family, and we miss them greatly. We love those people. We just hit it off. I mean, it was like he's my brother that I never had.
You should see them together. It's really kind of scary, and they do look like brothers. And for whatever cruel reason, we've planned to go back every year to see them, and something always gets in the way.
Gets in the way. I know it sucks so bad. But that's Dale. You'll see him in the chat once in a while. Dale and Denise, and we love them very much. Love you guys. And
Janice says they see that she saw the resemblance.
I know Dale.
When he was at his skinniest, literally, they looked like brothers.
Yeah, Dale and I are cousins on two sides of the family. Just saying.
We're gonna just stop that.
We're gonna stop right there. Anyway, so we hung out in Maine doing Maine things, and that summer I built a house. I framed and dried in an entire gigantic building by myself in one summer. That's the building I built because I was working at a campground. They wanted this building built, and they found out that I grew up. My dad was a carpenter, and so I built a building for them. And that was my summer project. Anyway, and then we went out squatching quite often. We found a 22-inch footprint. Dale and I found these weird trees that had been ripped off and piled in a star shape on the ground for no reason in the middle of nowhere in the Maine woods. And if you've ever been in the Maine woods, it's crazy thick. Look how thick the woods are back there.
Yeah.
You can't see 20 feet as well.
And so anyone who thinks that Bigfoot is a guy in a suit running through the Maine woods, idiot.
You're wrong. Yeah, I can't even walk through the Maine woods, and you can't see 20 feet. So if they get 20 feet away from you, they're gone. We also had some fans show up. This lady here was just hilarious. Actually, I don't want to make fun of her. I'm not making fun of her. It's just
no. She tracked us down.
She tracked us down, found out where we were at, and wanted to come meet us in person. It was so fun hanging out with her that day. It was awesome. We met this lovely lady,
Donna Matosa.
Donna Matosa. She's from Vermont. She came and hung out with us, and who's became another really good friend. So if you want to go squatching in Vermont,
and yes, those of you who have read our book,
yeah, if you've read our book,
if you've read the book, she
is actually featured in the book. Yeah,
I was gonna say she is
because of what she found. Yeah.
I gotta find the pictures. She is featured on page. Shouldn't be too hard because it's one of the few that actually in the first part of the book. I probably don't remember where it is. Anyway, she's in the book.
She's in the book. Anyway,
of the famous Matosa Cripplefoot cast, she's the one who found it and cast it.
She found and cast the very second Cripplefoot cast ever found.
Yep.
So anyway, that's her. We met her. She's a lovely lady. And then we may have illegally during the pandemic did some town hall meetings in Maine, because the people up in the woods in Maine, they don't care. They're loggers, So we got to hang out. If you're ever in Millinocket, Maine, go eat dinner at this place called the Sawmill. It is worth it.
And awesome. They deep fry everything now in beef tallow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So and tell Angel that Scott and Hannah from Squatch America sent you.
Yeah. Angel's the owner. She's awesome. In fact, do I have a picture of Angel? I don't have a picture of Angel. Anyway, so we did some town hall meetings there, and hung out with people and got some Bigfoot stories from the area. It was pretty awesome. Got to do that. And then we went and visited Lauren Coleman's museum. Lauren wasn't there, but we found Bigfoot and the creature from the Black Lagoon. So solved.
And I was wearing this hat.
And she's wearing the hat she has on right now. Okay. And then we bummed around the country for a while during the plague times. So we just kind of hung out. We met this guy named Herbie. If you're ever on I-10 in Arizona and you see a sign said "Come see the thing,"
do it.
It's this little museum place it's an adventure. It's probably 100% BS, but it is awesome. It is very well done. And so we went and saw that. We found the thing. We found Alvin and the Chipmunks. We found the world's largest jackalope. We found footprints
in Massachusetts.
We went and visited Area 51.
Janice, you know, for Total Rebels.
Yeah. We found the black mailbox, and we were on the back gate of Area 51. And we saw a UFO. We found a big cactus in Arizona.
Look at how tiny Daisy was then.
I know. And we met this girl in Arizona.
Shelly.
She's probably not in the cat, but Shelly's awesome. Shelly actually, her daughter had a Bigfoot sighting just recently. It was like,
this was like 2 years ago now.
Well, I guess time flies. 2 years ago, and we were able to get an investigator on site an hour after the sighting. It was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in
Cottonwood, or no, that was in Virginia.
I think it was in Virginia. Yeah.
But this picture was taken in Cotton.
This was in Arizona.
Yeah, and that's that's another pretty. This is like in 2023.
And then we met these folks when we were up in Leavenworth, Washington, and they came to the Pacific Northwest, and they just happened to see our truck. And
actually, their dad is a big fan. Her dad is a big fan of ours from Britain.
Yeah, her dad was a big fan of ours. He lived in Britain. They're from Britain. If you notice the car they're driving there, the steering wheel's on the wrong side. So they So we went out to lunch with them. They tracked us down when we went out to lunch.
Sent a t-shirt back for her dad.
Sent a t-shirt back for her dad. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Just meeting folks out on here is pretty.
But it just shows that now this is an oldie.
Yeah.
This was our first. I think this was our second summer in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's before we got the big red truck.
Yeah.
So I get to talk about these people. Because back in the day, back when we lived in California, I worked for social services as a clinical child welfare caseworker. And these two kiddos here, it's kind of a miraculous story, but I got to place them in their forever home with these lovely people in California, but they moved to Georgia about the same time that we were in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So yes, that would have been 2021. And it was just so fun to see how beautiful those boys are doing with their forever family.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And by the way, local Squatch says Maine, the way life should be is what the signs say on the highway. I would say everything north of Bangor.
North of Bangor.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then
south of Bangor, don't even try.
And then we started offering t-shirts on our website for the first time. And Bunker Branding in Texas is the company that
we started
with. I mean, I don't think we use them anymore because they're kind of expensive. but if anybody ever watched Demolition Ranch, this is the company
that he started.
So,
and even though his YouTube channel has ended, he still runs Bunker Branding.
Yeah. So that was kind of fun. We got to hang out there. Then we saw the Monster Mart in Falk, Arkansas, where we met Keith Crabtree and that day. And then we went and hung out at Willow Creek and Bluff Creek.
Yeah, we've completely lost the timeline here.
Yeah, I know. I told you this.
Yeah.
And then we started doing these. Then we got a guy in Maine contacted us and wanted us to start doing Bigfoot stuff at his sportsman shows. And this was a great boost for us, mainly because we're at a sportsman show, not a Bigfoot conference. We have our booth set up. This guy bought this 8-foot or 10-foot tall, actually, animatronic Bigfoot. He hired us to, that's Terrell's wife right there, by the way.
Yes, it is. He hired us to babysit the Bigfoot.
Yeah, hired us to babysit and talk Bigfoot with people. And oh my gosh, hunters. I got tons of Bigfoot stories from hunters. And we did those festivals
for 3 years.
For 3 years, and there were 4 festivals every round. So
and 5 the last
time. Yeah. So so we got that, and this is at one of the festivals where I kind of sit and hang out and wait for people to tell me Bigfoot stories. So then we met these folks at one of those festivals, the Bigfoot Coffee Company.
Yep.
Folks, and
John Endicott. Woo! Hello, welcome, buddy.
Yeah. And then they told, I asked them if they wanted to take a picture with the Bigfoot. I said, sure, to advertise their coffee company. And they're in Medford, right?
They're in Medford.
Yeah. And so I wanted to buy coffee from them, and I said, do you have a dark roast? Because I like really dark, thick coffee. And they go, no, we don't. And next thing I know, they contact us and says, we have dark roast now. And the name of their dark roast is Squatch America. So if you ever go to the Bigfoot Coffee Company, you can buy Squatch America dark roast coffee from them. And then we met this lovely lady.
No, we didn't just meet her. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And local Squatch, we don't sell that coffee anymore, but it is on our bucket list to actually have our own line of
maybe someday
coffee and tea.
Yeah, but if you want to get that, you can still get it, I think. This here is Renee in the chat.
Renee McCoy.
This lovely lady, I've known her most of my life. We went to high school together.
May have dated
in high school back in the day. But anyway, so hi, Renee. So this is a a true blue Squatch American right here,
Mhm.
and she's in the Blue Mountain area too, just on the other side of the hill.
I think that if we got, and now that she's retired, we could get Renee and Christy and Janice all together. You could be the West Coast She Squatchers.
She Squatchers.
She Squatchers West Coast.
Yep. And then we got invited to this on the reservation. We got invited to speak at a Bigfoot festival, which
in Yakima,
Washington, and I felt very honored to do so. This guy here invited us, Mel Skahan. He's a tribal elder, I think, in with the Yakima Nation. He invited us to come speak. So we got to hang out there with these guys. There was Tom Cantrell and Tom Seawood and the She Squatcher gals. And I forgot that other gal's name.
Oh, that's
Cougar Tracks.
oh,
Holly Cougar Tracks.
yes.
Right? Anyway, and so we got to hang out. We met these guys in person. We'd known them online for a long time. We'd been on their show. They'd been on our show. But we finally got to meet in person. This is the She Squatchers. So we got to hang out with them. And there's Holly.
Holly, yeah.
Holly Cougar Tracks. And then we got to hang out at this guy's birthday party. You can see that's Hannah right here in the background, right there. And that's Tom Cantrell right there. And that's one of the She Squatchers.
That's Tammy Jackson.
Tammy
Trickle.
Jackson. And there's the other She Squatcher there. I don't know where the other
There's Jen. There's Jen and Tammy in that shot.
Yeah. And
it's one of my favorite pictures right there.
yeah. And then we got to hang out with this guy. In case you don't know who this guy is, this is Bob Gimlin.
And let me tell you,
of the famous Patterson Gimlin film.
And in case you didn't know, he is quite flirtatious, that one.
He is. You don't know where he grabbed Hannah. No, not just kidding. but
He
he's not.
kissed my cheek.
He kissed her. Yeah, this was his 91st birthday party.
It was 2
He's
years
91.
ago.
Yeah. So we got to hang out with him, and then we met this guy at that festival for the first time, who's now a really good friend of ours, Tobe. That's Tobe.
I know.
That's your friend.
It's my favorite. He's my favorite squatcher.
Yeah, Tobe Johnson from the Al Moon Lab and the what's the videos?
Flash of
Beauty videos.
How much does it cost to have the Patterson Gimlin film in your I have absolutely no idea. It's readily available on YouTube. So
yeah, I don't think it costs anything because they never copyrighted it. So
yeah,
there's that. So then we started getting invited to Medellin Falls, to Bigfoot festivals.
Look at me. I must have been freezing.
I know. So the first year we were there, it was Tom Cantrell,
Jesus
Payan, and I forgot the other guy's name.
I can't remember.
And then Mel Skahan and Tom Seawood. We got to hang out with them for that weekend. And then the next year we were invited back again. And you heard this lady earlier. She was the first one on that voice thing. Angelique Brenham from
Legacy Discoveries.
Great gal. And then, of course,
yeah,
the other people.
Yeah, like I said, local Squatch, the Patterson Gimlin film is readily available for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
And then we got invited back to Pocatello. The second year was way better than the first year. That's where we got to hang out with this motley crew. It was
that's where we met Mark Murcell, who is standing next to Scott. And if you haven't read it, Mark Murcell wrote the foreword for Scott's book.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark wrote the foreword for my book, and then Jeff and Cliff and this is Michael Freeman, Paul Freeman's son. And that's where we met him for the first time. And great guy. He and I hit it off really well right off the bat. And he was in that audio thing that Hannah did for us too.
Yeah.
So, and then we went out squatching with this gal.
Janice.
This is Janice in the chat. Do you know, I looked for pictures in my terabytes of pictures and I didn't find them. I stole this off, I think,
My Facebook
my
page.
Facebook page or Anna's Facebook page. But anyway, so Janice got to go out squatching with her, and we'd love to go back out squatching with her.
Am I huddled under a blanket there? I look huddled under a blanket.
Yes, you are huddled.
I am always huddled under a blanket.
Yeah. So anyway,
that was a lot of fun. I think I literally think we need the She Squatchers West Coast edition.
Yeah. And then we got invited to
Don't worry, Lee, I told them who you were.
Yeah.
And then
this was at
Roseburg,
Oregon, their first
2023.
Yeah. They did their first Bigfoot festival. They invited me and Jeff to speak at that one. And that is Scott Goebel.
Who's sometimes in the chat.
Who's sometimes in the chat. He's not here tonight. He called me and said he couldn't make it, but he would be happy to watch it later. Scott is the guy I go squatching with down in our
He's our Southern Oregon squatching partner.
Yeah. He's the Squatch America in Southern Oregon for us in the Crater Lake area. Great guy. So Jeff and I spoke at this one, and we had dinner with him, and Hannah got to hang out and pick his brain. So interested at that time.
Well, here's the thing. I have no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah. You were talking about hands, I think.
No, that was the next year.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I don't know. Who knows?
Anyway. So, and then I got invited to the biggest squatching thing on the planet. And
Local Squatch has a question. Do we have any pictures of stuff that we find when you go squatching? I think that was last time.
Yeah, we just did the last 2-3 episodes of everything we found. If you want to go back to our lives and watch them, we just did that.
And go to our website because we've got photo galleries.
Yeah, go to squatchamerica.com and go to our photo gallery. We've got all the stuff we found. The photo I took 6 years ago. We've found
tree structures, and
we found 2 different honest to God tree structures. We found one. We've found 7 or 8 footprints that we've cast.
Anyway, it's all there.
It's all there. Anyway.
Okay. So this was Squatch Fest in Kelso.
In Kelso, Washington, and Squatch Fest. It's like one of the biggest one every year. I think there's like 2,000 or 3,000 people show up to this thing. It's ridiculous. It's a one-day thing. So I got to be a guest speaker one year. And this is the lineup for that year. It was Shane Corson again.
That's where we met Kathy Strain.
And Kathy Strain and Jeff was there. And Cliff was there that year too. We met this guy who wrote the Oregon Bigfoot Highway book, Joe Beelart. Awesome. I mean, it was awesome to meet him. If you want to know about Bigfoot on Mount Hood, get that book. It's called the Oregon Bigfoot Highway. And so there was Mark Marcel again, Shane, me, Cliff, Jeff, Kathy Strain, and Ken Gerhardt. We were on that panel. And then we all got to go out to dinner, and that's where I met this dude. And that's Todd Neese. And he argued with me about
everything.
About Baker City, Oregon, and Sumter. He didn't think I knew anything about it, but I literally was born in Baker City. So,
and that's where Angela decided I was her bestie.
Yeah.
No idea why, but there we go. And now we're back in Baker.
Yeah. And
for the second annual
Bigfoot Baker City Bigfoot conference that we put on. We invited Todd and Michael Freeman to come be the speakers. And of course, we got Jeremy Scott from Into the Paranormal as our announcer there. That was this year. And then we got invited to speak at Beachfoot, which is kind of
actually, that was before our festival.
Sometime. Anyway.
Same year as our festival.
Same year. And Hey, it's
Ben Celine.
Ben Celine in the chat right there.
And Christy Sanders and her beautiful dog Katya.
Yeah.
And you got Russ there and
Russ Lochran and Todd Neese and myself. Okay. And then we got to go to the Cliffs Museum. I got to sign the wall. I didn't put that picture in, but so there's that. Then we got invited to Forks, Washington to do a Bigfoot festival there with this is Amy Buey. Did I say it right?
You know, you forgot our final. Wait a minute. No, never mind. This
is Amy, Shane Corson, and
David Ellis.
If you want to know about Bigfoot sounds and vocalization, this is your man.
Yeah.
David Ellis right there. Then we did our last one where we had this motley crew at our Bigfoot festival. We had
Robert Leiterman.
He's the guy who actually found the actual site of the Patterson-Gimlin film and measured every rock and tree and stick. And
let me tell you what, he is like, no offense, because I adore him, neurotic.
He is.
I mean,
that's the kind of guy you need to do research, though.
These two, and they figured out they're probably related anyway.
Yeah.
I can kind of see it in the nose.
Yeah.
Anywho, they got Cajun nose because you got your dad's nose.
Yeah.
So
we're both Acadian French, so we're Cajuns. So
but
all Cajuns are related.
As far as
go figure.
As far as genuine archaeology, these two are your guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's trained in forestry. I'm trained in anthropology. So, and then we went back to Medellin Falls this year. We had
that was actually Roseburg,
I guess I'm wrong. And we got invited to be the guests at a Eugene Emeralds baseball game, which is kind of odd. Well, Eugene Emeralds, Eugene, Oregon, their mascot is Bigfoot. So they had a Bigfoot thing and we got to hang out there.
Sasquatch Appreciation Day.
Yeah. So we got to be the guests there.
And that was last summer. Yeah. Last summer?
Yeah.
Yes, last summer.
And we also got invited to this.
This was while we were in New Mexico.
In New Mexico. Were they talking about weird stuff? Anyway, so
I like that hat too.
Yeah, and that radio guy was really cool.
Yeah.
And then we got back to Pocatello for the festival where this year Hannah got to be the MC for the whole show.
And I was freaking hilarious. They loved me.
She was
the whole time I'm cracking jokes and Scott is just going, oh my Lord, help me.
Yes, I was.
Got some great people there.
Yeah. I didn't have a picture of who was there, but Mark Marcel was there, Michael Freeman, myself, Jeff Meldrum, and there's one other dude. Cliff's buddy.
I forgot his tracker dude.
The tracker, the guy who's a wilderness tracker who works with Cliff was there. Anyway, so that was fun. That was probably the last festival we have done, isn't it? Wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Then and the timeline's kind of messed up, but anyway,
at some point in all this,
I think
it was like two winters ago.
But we came to Texas and we got to go out with these guys.
We got Chester Moore there on the right, and Lyle Blackburn in the middle, and Craig Wolfeater right next to Scott.
Yep. And we got to go hang out with them.
I discovered there that I love blackened catfish and pickled green tomatoes.
And then we got to go hang out with this guy for a day. It was pretty awesome. The Squatching Cowboy. Great dude. Love him to death. Anyway, and then...
So this is really recent.
This is really recent.
Like a few months ago.
Just a couple months ago, we got to hang out with, that's Jenna?
Jenna Grover from the She Squatchers, who lives just outside of Dallas.
Yeah. So, and she tried to steal my truck. I didn't let her. So, it was fun hanging out with her for a day. It was pretty awesome. She's great people. Then
now this is at Medellin Falls last year,
and I forgot.
That is Marie Dumont from the Mid Florida Bigfoot Research Group.
Yeah.
And I forgot her buddy's name there, but
yeah.
You know.
So these folks came all the way from Florida to Oregon to kind come to the Bigfoot
And
Festival.
that was the festival where we were all rained out and the tents were blowing over and I'm freezing my little took the shred off.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
Yeah. And then we got to
Oh, this was a couple of years ago.
This is pretty awesome. I got to go out with this guy's, as you know, we take veterans out. This is a veteran and his two boys. And we got to take them out in the woods and we actually had stuff happen, which first thing I told him was 90% of the time, nothing happens. So don't.
I think that's the key. If you just go in saying nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen.
It will.
It will. So we found a footprint and we had a tree pushed over on us. So
and the 8-year-old threw up everywhere.
Yeah, and the 8-year-old was so scared in the woods. So we traumatized the child. It was pretty awesome. Anyway, and then this is years ago too. This is in Umatilla. We met.
I say this is like 2022.
Yeah, this is a Umatilla native from the Umatilla tribe in the Blue Mountains, and this is an actual tree structure we found. So there's 4 to 6 inch tree limbs in there, and not one of them is cut. They're all broken off. And this is all woven together. We've got videos on this if you want to go back on the channel and look them up. Look for Footprint Friday videos. I've been out squatching this is one time we went out squatching / wolf hunting with my son in Idaho. It was 16 below zero.
And this is where you lost your glasses.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And Dustin broke his kneecap.
Yeah, that's my Pete again. We do a lot of squatching in the snow, and this is
recent.
This is in New Mexico. We went out squatching.
Last September.
Went out squatching with Nikki Cologne from Sasquatch Secrets, and these two folks we met, and I adore these guys. They're members of the Mescalero Apache Nation. And so, which the nation actually loved, they welcomed us into the tribe, which was very rare and humbling. And I'm very excited to be able to go back there someday.
Mm-hmm. I want to be adopted and have a new name. That's what I want.
We went out squatching with Leiterman and to the Freeman site where we started documenting where Leiterman started his whole thing he did with the Bluff Creek project at the Freeman site. So we took them out there for one day and we got to hang out with them. These folks we met in Leavenworth. No, we went, who are those folks? No. So here's the thing.
Or is that in
driving around in our truck? This is one of the greatest things. This is the reason I do what I do.
I don't even remember.
This is in, what's that place we go to in Southern Oregon on the coast?
This is in Florence, Oregon.
And this is the little coffee shop.
I don't remember what their names are.
Yeah, but they had Bigfoot stories for us, and so we went out and had coffee with them. And told us,
Squatch wants to know if we find anything in the snow.
We do. We find footprints in the snow, and they're hard to document. But we do. Yeah, we find that's the best time to find footprints because they don't go away, well, unless it snows or melts. But so this is me and Scott out in Crater Lake squatching. This is Hannah and our daughter.
This has nothing to do with squatching.
Yeah, she went squatching on a camel. Just kidding.
I forgot that camel's name, but he was a very nice camel.
These are two guys we met just the other day.
Oh, wait, this was in Bridgeport,
Texas.
And probably our 2 youngest Squatch America fans right there.
Yeah, there you go. Squatch America fans right there. And this was literally Todd and Todd Neese and us hanging out last weekend.
Hannah's worst picture ever.
In Fouke, Arkansas, home of the Fouke monster. So that's it. So we made it through.
Oh, holy cow. So that's basically the last 7 years from 2017.
So that's what got us from there to here.
No, the 8 years. That's 8 years.
Now that I bored you all to death. So
now it's time to draw for prizes.
Yeah. So,
All right. So here's what we're
so
gonna do.
we've got some new products that we're going to be debuting at the Bigfoot Festival that we're going to coming up next weekend, isn't it? Not this coming up weekend, but the weekend after next. We're going to be in where's the
Appleton, Wisconsin.
Where's the freaking photo? I can't find it. There it is. We're going to be in Appleton, Wisconsin at the Cryptid Anomalies and Paranormal Con. And so we're going to be there for the weekend. We're actually going out squashing.
So here's what I think we need to do. We need to show. We're going to show the prizes, and then as we draw them, people can pick, because we don't want to give a prize to someone who, if they already have something.
Okay, I see what she means. So, all right. So here's what we have for prizes.
We have
so we're going to give away one Bigfoot cast. Now,
only one.
You get to choose which one.
This is
a Bigfoot cast that I cast myself in Cottage Grove Reservoir area 3 years ago.
Yeah, this is part of the London Trackway
So
too.
if you heard of the famous London Trackway that Cliff Barrickman cast in 12, 13, 14 years ago, where they had 100 footprints. Well, 14 years ago, he cast those casts. 3 years ago, we found footprints there in the same place again. We did this time. It was us.
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And these casts match Cliff's. So there's a big brouhaha going that we don't know if they're fake or real because they match so well.
Cliff says they're fake.
Cliff says they're fake. Toad Johnson says they're real. So,
and we already know where my favorite is.
Okay,
so you can choose that one, or
you can choose that cast, or you can choose this cast. And this is actually a cast of Patty. Oh, and hold that one back up. This is a cast of Patty from the Patterson film, taken by Bob Gimlin that very next day after the film. But if you want to notice the difference between Patty and the one we found, there's the size difference.
You got big male and a smaller female.
Yep. She's a female. That's the male.
So you can pick one of those.
Pick one of those casts.
We have a signed copy of Squatch America, Investigating the Unexplained, a researcher's journey into the Bigfoot mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a brand new product
that we're going to debut at the festival.
Skookum fire starter cubes.
Yeah, these are emergency fire starters that you can use in the woods to start fires.
And finally,
I need that whole thing. Yeah. Finally, another thing that
another brand new product.
And these are those fire starters ones I make myself, and I actually made these myself.
These are survival bracelets.
These are survival bracelets. We got one of these, but this one's a little bit different. Inside the strand, you have 7 nylon cords that can be broken down into 3 each. You have a fishing line, you have a cotton thread for sewing, and you have a fire starter thread inside there. And then in the buckle has a ferrocerium rod to start fires and a whistle. And
all right.
in the striker for the thing. So all that's in this.
So Floki's Angels, I got you in our drawing. This is your last chance, folks. If you want to be in my magic wheel of giveaways, you've got to put your name in the chat now.
So you can choose from a signed copy of the book, a Bigfoot cast, your choice between Patterson or the other one.
The Skookum fire starter.
Skookum fire starters or the survival bracelet.
Okay, so, and it's first come, first service. So the last person, you'll get what's left.
Yeah,
that's how that works.
So that's how that works. Sorry, folks.
All right, so the last one, I hope you don't have like a book or a cast or something.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so we're going to start now.
Hannah's spinning the wheel. Hannah's spinning the wheel.
Oh, shut up.
Hannah's app just crashed.
I can't remember how to get to the wheel. All right. All right. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
All right. All right, here we go. And we're going to spin. And we have
Get Mark.
Oh man.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
Mark from down under. So this is going to cost me a lot in postage, but that's fine. So Mark in the chat, if you're still here, I hope.
If you're not here, we're going to give you like a few minutes to pick your prize.
Pick your prize, Mark. So Mark, the book.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
So Mark gets to find. Now, here's how we got to do this, Mark.
Oh, yes.
Go to.
Here, I'll type it in. You're
Hannah's
going to
type in an email address in the chat.
Squatch America is on the trail. All right. Send us an email.
Send us an email
with your exact mailing address.
With your mailing address, and we will get this to you, Mark. So that's Mark's.
Okay. Book is spoken for. All right. All right. Here we go. Next one is Floki's Angels. What do you want? Floki's Angels. And Floki's Angels logged on right before we started spinning. So
cool. So you got your choice between the survival bracelet, the
one
Bigfoot
of the
cast,
or the Skookum Fire Starters.
The fire starter.
And Renee, I got a really good review. Renee says that everyone needs to get the Squatch Off. She actually took her dog, and Barley is her beautiful, was the golden retriever.
Yeah.
Beautiful dog, long hair, tick magnet. She used the Squatch Off, rubbed it on her hands and rubbed it all over Barley, and Barley had no hitchhiking ticks. So great. Anyway, so Floki's Angels, we'll give you a couple more seconds. Otherwise, we're going to spin again.
You have to be 18 to play, though. I don't know if that's a rule. I don't know.
That's not a rule here.
Oh yeah, Mike Prime says Squatch. Maybe we should.
We could. Okay, we're gonna add a bottle of Squatch Off to the giveaways. Okay.
I don't have a bottle here. It's in the box over there.
Yep. So we've just added a fifth prize, a bottle of Squatch Off. Okay.
Yeah. So
you could add a bottle of the other stuff too.
Well, that's kind of. What do you mean? The beard oil?
Yes.
Oh no.
He's
got to have a beard.
Well, how do we know if someone doesn't have a beard? All right. So Floki's Angels, I don't see you piping in, so we're gonna spin again. All right. You'll discover that I don't have a lot of patience.
Does that take their names off?
Yes. Okay. All right. Here we go. So second prize is Philip for grabs. Philip Miller. Philip Miller, you have 60 seconds to post what you want. Yeah, you could use a shine up. You need to groom. You're getting.
I just.
You need to trim. You need to trim some of this weird stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
So we do have a line of beard oil and beard balm, the wax stuff
that he makes himself.
That I make myself, and it is pine tar smelling. So if you like to smell like Squatch or a forest fire, there you go.
It smells very delicate pine scent. All right, so
get the sheep shears. Yeah, that's right.
Getting ready to spin again. If you don't get your okay, looks like we've lost some people, or they've people come and go. Oh, Philip Miller. Okay,
it's
so
survival bracelet.
Survival bracelet is spoken for.
So Philip, go for the email us at squatchamerica@gmail.com. It's in the the link is in the.
It's here. I'll type it again.
Uh-huh.
Put me in the thing. Am I in the thing? SquatchAmerica@gmail.com. I can turn anything into a sermon or a song.
What are you doing?
I'm going to control copy.
So she can keep throwing it in there.
Yes.
Understand.
All right. All right. Third prize is local Squatch. Okay, what do you want? You have your choice between one of the casts or a bottle of Squatch Off or the Skookum Fire Starters.
Yep. What's cool about these is there's 8 cubes in here, and you just pull one of those out, throw it on the ground, and throw your wood on top of it. It burns for 5 minutes, so it'll dry out wood.
So let us know what you want.
We'll see how. I'm glad we got to do the show tonight. We were having internet.
Like in the middle of a tornado earlier today.
Yeah, we had to.
Oh, he wants the PG cast.
Patterson Gimlin cast.
All right.
There you go.
So send us your real name
Mm-hmm.
and your there you go. Send us your real name and your mailing address to that email address, and we will get it out. And then we're in the middle of traveling this week, so we'll get it out when we get to Wisconsin next week.
Well, in 4 days.
Well,
we'll be in Wisconsin in 4
It'll
days.
be next week.
No, it will be next week.
All right. So now we are down to a bottle of Squatch Off and the Skookum Fire Starters.
Squatch Off is a bug spray that we invented ourselves. So.
Yes. Okay.
And Renee says it works. So.
Well, we knew it worked, but. Pyromatic! What? Pyromatic! I hope you're still with us tonight, buddy.
Awesome. I like that Local Squatch says he has a lot of his own casts and he'd like to compare them. That is totally awesome. Hand me that cast. So while we're waiting for Pyro to say what he wants, the Squatch Off or the Skookum
Fire
Starters, I would like to explain something about this cast that's very interesting. If you hold it this way, you can look and see that this here, if you measure it, this here is not as thick as this is.
Okay, Scott,
and it's not as thick as this. What's left? Pyromatic says
we have our Skookum Fire Starter cubes or a bottle of
our bug spray,
our bug repellent
Squatch Off.
Squatch Off.
So what that tells you is Bigfoot steps with their foot flat, then it bends in the middle, pushes down a little further here, and then the toes are the last thing because you see the bottom of the foot straight up and down when it comes up. So the toes are deeper.
Okay.
And this is deeper.
Pyro wants the Squatch Off.
Okay.
And all we ask from you in return is a decent review.
Yeah.
All right. So, and if you guys have not heard the story really about Squatch Off, that would be for another show, I think.
So send us your address. Again, I think we've had it before, but I don't keep that stuff, so.
All right, and for the last prize, the lucky winner of the Skookum Fire Starters.
And a little note.
Let's see who gets them. Pappy!
All right, Pappy. 2 bears.
Yes.
All right, awesome. So you get the Skookum cubes. Little cool thing, in case you didn't know. Once you use these lovely fire starters here, and you can start 8 fires with them. You can also take this tin, poke a hole in the top of it, just a little hole in the top of it. If you have anything cotton ball. pure cotton balls, cotton t-shirt, cotton fabric, you put it in here with that little hole in the top, then you throw this in a fire or put it on your grill and you let it cook until the smoke stops coming out. Then inside this, everything will be black. And what you have there is char cloth, which is
char
cloth, which will start fires just as well as these.
No, okay, so no more. We don't have any more casts. The casts were you could pick one. We were just giving one cast away tonight. So anyway, how is what on stains? Oh, that's Joe. Actually, when you get the Squatch Off, you will get you'll get instructions and all that. activated charcoal.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we've been going for almost 2 hours tonight. Thank you
Thanks
for
for
sticking
hanging
with
out.
us.
Yeah, and putting up with us. So now you know how Squatch America
By the way,
came to be.
let's play one advertisement for them because this is important. Play the Starlink advertisement.
Okay. So Hannah has a special announcement for
Yes.
this. Okay. I gotta find it. There it is.
Imagine having high-speed internet no matter where you are. With Starlink, that dream is now reality. No more buffering, lag, or limited access. Starlink connects you to ultra-fast, reliable internet anywhere on Earth. From seamless streaming to intense gaming and productivity, Starlink empowers you to do it all. And here's the best part. Sign up using our exclusive link and get your first month free. Don't miss out on the future of internet. Click the link in our description to get started today. Starlink, revolutionizing internet, one connection at a time. Join now. Okay, here's why I wanted you to see that, because between now and May 15th, if you use our referral code to Starlink below,
it's in the description. You gotta click on the
click
description.
on the link in the description. If you use that to purchase a 12-month, if you contract for 12 months of Starlink service, you get your dish and all the startup stuff for free. So you know, if you've stayed away from Starlink because it is kind of a spendy startup fee, you can avoid that startup fee now, but you have to use our link. And it's only good for the next 2 weeks. So do it now.
So that's it.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much for putting up with us tonight and our 200th episode.
We hope you enjoyed it. I know there wasn't cake and there certainly weren't adult beverages involved, but you know, there we are.
There we are.
So with that said, remember that our job at Squatch America is to investigate the unexplained.
Not to explain the uninvestigated.
Sorry, Lee. And so until next week, you keep watching.
And we'll keep squatching.
Now go out and
find big.
That damn Sasquatch.
They're squashing, they're searching, they're cracking some jokes. It's Scott and Hannah, your Bigfoot